Nanaimo's 15th annual Fringe Festival, produced by Pacific Coast Stage Company, ran from August 7th to the 17th. From stand-up comedy and one-person shows, all the way to full-cast drama or even burlesque, there was something for every kind of fringe. On Selby Street at the Black Rabbit Kitchen was the Selby Station Stage, as well as the upstairs venue known as the Attic. And over at the Port Theatre on Front Street, there was a stage set up in the lobby, and of course the main Port Theatre stage as well. Tickets for each event were available at the ticket booth inside the Port Theatre, as well as outside the Black Rabbit Kitchen at the Fringe Hub, and of course they were also available online. There was 14 different live shows across 4 different stages. Each show ran a number of times for a grand total of 75 performances. With over 2,000 tickets sold and 80 performing artists and crew members, it was quite a turnout. Now, I'm not here to review every single show. What had me curious was how the Fringe Fest works. The selection process, all the different performance groups, the amount of effort that goes into organization. So I sat down with Fringe's artistic producer, Yvette Dudley-Neuman, to talk about some of the offstage effort it takes and the difficulties they faced this year.
So normally we just run things by lottery, and that means that everybody gets pulled out a hat and you get what you get. And that is actually a rule of Fringe festivals. At least half your Fringe has to be lottery. And so traditionally that's all they've kind of had here, plus our own show that we curate every year from Pacific Coast Stage Company. I think the hardest part of hosting the Fringe Festival is funding and staffing, because although we are well supported with government grants, most of that money is used to actually run the festival. And I have no other staff that is my staff that stays with me year round. When I look at festivals like Vancouver or Edmonton, they've got a good staff of 10, 20 people, right? And I don't ever know that Nanaimo will be that big, but it'd be nice to have a core staff of 2 or 3 people, so you have some other people to kind of work with and bounce ideas off. And then, it's wonderful to have the Canada Summer Job staff and all the technicians that we bring on, but everybody's on contract. That and a location, because my home became a bomb explosion of Fringe. All the boxes came out in my house. All the merch arrived at my house. I just looked at my husband and said, I'm sorry. I don't have a place to put all this stuff.
Now, just to attend the Fringe Festival is good fun, and trying to keep up with it all week is difficult enough. But to organize an event of this scale, you need coordination, resources, and a lot of people's time. Throughout this year's festival, there was a reported 540 hours of volunteer work. Had these been employees instead of volunteers, it would have cost nearly $10,000 alone, assuming minimum wage. That's why volunteers are so incredibly crucial. Without them, events like this just wouldn't be possible.
I wish I had a number for you, but I think what the average person doesn't know is how many volunteers it takes to actually make this happen. Yeah. There's our own volunteers, there's volunteers from the port every day, there's then all the technicians at the port, all the admin staff at the Port Theatre, all the people at the Black Rabbit, all the support, all of those little things people don't, they might see parts of it, but they don't see all of it. Hundreds of people to make this happen. And we actually have had a wonderful turnout of volunteers this year, better than most years in the past. So I'm really excited about it. I think COVID did a real mess up to a lot of organizations, and this was one. So it was hard to get back billets and volunteers, but it's really on the upswing this year. And I'm really happy about that, because I think that really builds community, but it also builds fun and excitement for the festival. Just seeing the audiences come out and enjoy and be part, build some community, meet some people, have some laughs. Like, that part is really fun.
Having, that Fringe Festival to, have new people come in and create something that they've, had sitting there on their table for so long, and, getting to express that idea. They all share the same drive to, tell a story or, get people to, bring them together and have a fun night, so it's wanting to, share with everybody and, willing to, come out at, 9 p.m. and listen to a story about somebody's diversity and storytelling.
There was also a handful of Fringe Button events, which the $5 Fringe Button granted access to. The proceeds from the buttons go entirely towards running the festival so that the ticket sales for each show could go entirely to the artists. This particular button is out of focus, but here's a ton that aren't. You had to buy a button to attend any part of the festival, but mainly it was for the Fringe Button events. Personally, I didn't make it out to many of these panels, but I did go to the puppet workshop. This is the puppet that I made. His name is Wizard the Catfish. But while I was working on that, I was thinking about the intense process of developing a small stage play into a main stage ready event. So I met with Kaz Crawford from Fringe show Theoxenia to talk about what that process was like.
Technically, I've been in the show for 5 months, but it's like been rehearsing on and off, so it's been a long time. I think this is the longest run I've ever done of like anything. The show that I'm in is great, and I've been having a lot of fun. It was nice because there were still 3 of us who like remembered all the old blocking. So it was kind of interesting like integrating them into it, and I'm sure that they may have like felt a little overwhelmed on occasion, but honestly they pulled through really, really well. They all have adapted super well, and I'm like really proud of them. So honestly, I think the space improved a lot of things about it. There was one part in particular where like I am trying to escape for an undisclosed reason, and they said that it looked a lot more intense because there was more room for me to move around, and so it kind of looked more like I was actually trying to escape. But like with 6 people, it's nice to have that kind of space on stage. It's really cool because it's outside of VIU, so like a lot of the time when we would do stuff, it would kind of remain localized in like that little bubble, whereas I think like doing it just for the community, there's been a lot of people seeing it who probably wouldn't have like seen our show otherwise. I do think that like there is a pretty big chance for people to get opportunities. It's just been kind of like a bit of a wider audience, which I've thought was awesome.
That's what Fringe is really all about, giving independent artists a chance to work on stage and network and just help build up the creative community that they're all a part of.
It's a chance for maybe artists who wouldn't get an opportunity to have an opportunity. They might get a part in a play, or they might get something here or there, but this is an opportunity to really write and create and direct and produce your own work. And it takes some things off their plate, right? Because we offer the venues, we offer the marketing. I mean, they do have to do some of their own marketing, but the general marketing is done for them. Lights, sound, technicians, venues, all of that is taken care of, and even to the accounting. Ticket sales are handled for them. So there's lots of producing parts that they do need to learn about producing their own play, but it's also a lot of the technical sort of management things are done for them.
If you missed it this time around, there's always next summer, July 30th to August 9th, 2026.
Thank you for watching. You should go next year to the Fringe Festival, and you missed out if you didn't see our show, so.